ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
I haven't heard anything from Scripps about how long this is going to go on for.
Worry and frustration among Scripps patients. It's now been more than 2 weeks since its system went offline due to a cyber attack. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. ABC 10 News has learned that some employees are finally regaining access to that information. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura has more on the access they have now and the impact to patients.
We've been in contact with more than one source inside Scripps Health, telling us they've been able to access some of their systems, but the headaches continue for many patients.
So my mom is in her 80s. She has a couple of health conditions, so she does see her physicians pretty regularly at Scripps.
Monique Mayo is worried about her mother, who sees a doctor at Scripps Memorial in La Jolla, and also has a weekly treatment scheduled at a different Scripps location. But this week,
ours wasn't booked because we didn't have it in the system already. And so unfortunately, she missed a treatment this week. We didn't get a call.
A cyber attack reported on May 1st led to a severe impact on Scripps systems. Its patient services have been affected since. On Wednesday, more than one source inside Scripps Health told ABC 10 News they now have access to read-only medical records dated before May 1st. That means they can access the records but can't update it. Our sources tell us some units are able to access x-rays. Some computers are working, but they only have limited access to certain information, and so multiple providers are trying to share one desktop or laptop to get information. Some employees have gained some access to email and payroll systems.
So I do want to say, though, I appreciate that all the healthcare workers there are doing their absolute best. Like, this is not easy for the physicians or the nurses or the labs that are working. But just as a patient, I mean, my focus is my mom. It's not really on the Scripps, so I want my mom to get the care she needs.
Mayo says she's reached out to Scripps via social media, which she's had more luck with instead of the phone. She's concerned because Scripps hasn't given a timeline for getting everything up and running properly.
Is this going to go on for 6 weeks? I'm kind of questioning whether we're going to just need to use the emergency room as our care, maybe.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
We also reached out to Scripps Health to confirm what kind of access they had to their systems. They responded, quote, "We don't have an update to provide at this point. We will share more information as we are able."
I'm amazed that someone would try and pull something like that, especially with so many people around here.
Attacked in broad daylight, the sheriff's department is searching for a man accused of grabbing a woman on a Vista trail. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us who deputies are looking for.
The woman told detectives she was walking along this trail with her dogs when she says a man grabbed her and tried to take her into the bushes.
This park is always busy.
It was just before noon on a trail at Buena Vista Park in Vista when a woman says she was attacked. The woman telling deputies a man grabbed her and tried to pull her into nearby bushes. The pair fell to the ground and the suspect got away.
I'm amazed that someone would try and pull something like that, especially with so many people around here.
News of the attack leaving hikers in shock and more aware of their surroundings. The woman was left with some light scratches on her legs.
Generally, no matter what time of the day it is, there's always somebody you're going to within shouting distance.
The suspect is described as a man in his 20s, last seen in a black baseball hat, a maroon sweatshirt with a Rancho Buena Vista High School logo on the front, and navy blue shorts. The trail, although busy, does have areas that can be isolated from the crowd.
Especially when you get farther away from everybody and the trail's real narrow. There's little places where people can hide.
The sheriff's department reminding people to use the buddy system and stay alert.
I don't think this guy is going to come back around here, because everyone's going to be on the lookout.
Anyone with information is asked to call the San Diego Sheriff's Department or Crime Stoppers. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Restaurant owners who have already spent tens of thousands of dollars on outdoor parklets could now have their outdoor permits revoked. Our ABC 10's reporter John Horn has the changes that some restaurants will have to make if they want to continue operating outside.
India Street here in Little Italy is lined with restaurant parklets, many of them quite elaborate with roofs, walls, garden lights, art, music. ways to make the public feel welcome. And if you zoom down here, you can just see how many of them there are. Now, the city says this kind of outdoor dining can continue through at least July 2022, but for that to happen, it's going to require restaurant owners to make some potentially painful changes.
I mean, we want to do more planters and get it looking even more vibrant.
Eric Adler never thought he'd be standing on a wood-framed structure that extends over 9 parking spots in front of his downtown La Jolla restaurant. Now, he wants to invest even more into that structure.
It's still a little stale. Like, we want to get more color out here. We want to get more green.
Adler's Parklet provided a lifeline for Puesto La Jolla to survive the pandemic, and it will provide even more space for a new Italian place he plans to open next door later this year.
Everyone's acting like pandemic's over, just here we go, turn the page, forget about everything, but that's not how we're seeing our guests. A lot of them still don't feel comfortable. They want to dine outside.
The good news for them is that the City Council voted this week to extend outdoor dining through July 13th, 2022. But restaurant owners like Adler may have to scale down their parklets by July 13th this year because the city says they don't comply with code and go well beyond the sample drawing it released as a guideline for restaurants. That means things like no rooftops, and any issues of blocking red curbs or extending too far into the street must be corrected.
Without the city's flexibility of making this happen, I mean, I'd say almost every restaurant in San Diego would have closed.
Adler says Puesto will work with the city to bring the parklet into compliance. He's also applied for a city permit to keep a pedestrian plaza in that same space for up to 5 years, allowing outdoor dining long beyond the pandemic. Puesto's parklet cost about $50,000. A city spokesman telling me that the city will work with restaurant owners on a case-by-case basis to get them into compliance. He reiterated, however, that July 13th date. If they're not in compliance, they could have their permit revoked. In Little Italy, John Horn, ABC 10 News.
The county once again reported fewer than 100 daily cases today, while our test positivity rate held at 1%. But 4 more San Diegans have lost their lives to COVID. That brings our total to more than 3,700.
Orange County officially moved into the less restrictive yellow tier today. That means Disneyland can increase its capacity from 25 to 35%. Visitors are thrilled to see things moving in the right direction.
It's a huge step. It's been a really long year, so this is a good sign that we're moving forward and we're getting back to normal life.
Santa Cruz, Santa Clara, and Amador counties also moved into the yellow tier today.
A big step forward for San Diego's cruise industry as it tries to rebound from the pandemic today and tomorrow. Sharp Health is vaccinating about 450 members from 3 Holland America cruise ships in San Diego. The CDC says that cruises can return as early as mid-July if 98% of crew members and 95% of passengers are fully vaccinated. Cruise lines can also choose to run a test cruise. Either way, one Holland America captain told us the staff is ready to welcome back guests.
They were very excited about it because it means, once the ship is fully vaccinated, that we are closer to going back into business.
Royal Princess cruise staff also lined up for their vaccinations today. The Sharp healthcare team administered shots right on board the ship. Port officials say that cruise ships could begin sailing out of San Diego by the fall.
Nearly a third of all California restaurants shut their doors permanently since the pandemic started. This is according to a report by the California Restaurant Association. There were over 76,000 restaurants in the state employing 1.8 million people before the pandemic. After the shutdowns began in March of 2020, as many as 1 million of those workers were furloughed or laid off. The report did have some good news. The industry is expected to eventually rebound. The emphasis is eventually, creating another 160,000 jobs by 2029 for a total of nearly 2 million statewide.
Chula Vista Police released a bi-weekly update on the Maya Millete investigation. The mother of 3 disappeared back in January and has not been seen since. Police say that based on investigative leads over the past week, law enforcement has searched the area of 500 Hunt Parkway in Chula Vista. That's about 2 miles from the Millete home. So to date, police say that investigators interviewed 59 people, written 31 search warrants. They have reviewed more than 75 tips on Maya's possible whereabouts or reason for disappearance. And they also served a gun violence restraining order to Larry Millete, Maya's husband, and served a second search warrant at the Millete home. Right now, investigators continue to review multiple items of evidence and more than 1,000 pages of data in this case.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing back against calls from the United States to wind down his military offensive in Gaza. Today, Netanyahu vowed to continue the operation until quiet and security are restored. It's a rebuke to the Biden administration's call for an end to the airstrikes, which continued today. Palestinian militants also bombarded Israel with rocket fire throughout the day, and Lebanon fired a barrage of rockets into northern Israel as well.